everybody. Welcome to the very first Bible study of the power of the praying wife. I am so excited that you're here with me, and I hope that this first introduction chapter has blessed you like it has blessed me. Let's start with going through Luke 10:19, where it says, "Look, I have given you authority over all the power of the enemy, and you can walk among snakes and scorpions and crush them. Nothing will injure you." Isn't that wonderful to know that God has given us authority over the enemy? The authority to stop evil in our marriage and to promote and to give way for good to happen in our marriage. The power is the prayer. The power is the authority that God has given us through prayer. This authority is a weapon that is not to be used against our husbands, but to be used as a tool for restoration. It's to restore our marriages, to restore our relationships with our husbands, and to restore love and grace and patience and friendship within that relationship, that marriage covenant. Now, what do we do with this power? Well, you know what? That's really interesting. You know what we can do is first ask God for forgiveness. We'll lay down our sins before God and allow Him to do that good work in us. We want to sacrifice our feelings and put our husband's feelings first. And as we begin to pray for our husbands, we want to first ask for God to eliminate the bitterness and the unforgiveness that we have in our hearts towards our husbands. You know, prayer cannot get to God when there's sin in place of that. Sometimes sin can be a wall, a brick wall that can stop, that can hinder your prayers from getting to God. So we first want to ask God for Him to remove that bitterness and that unforgiveness from our hearts. And we want to ask Him to reveal to us where we need to change, what areas that we first need to address before we ask Him to make changes in our husband. And God will gladly show you what areas in your life that you need to work on. Now, who has that power? We do. You know, in Matthew 19:5, it says, He said, "This explains why a man leaves his father and mother and is joined to his wife, and the two are united into one." Well, we have the power because we have the oneness in the covenant. God has blessed that oneness, that two into one together. In Genesis 11, it says when the people were building the Tower of Babel, God looked down on them and said, well, in Kim language, man, these people are really doing something together in unity. It's nothing that will be impossible for them to accomplish because they're all one on the same focus, the same mission. So God then changed up their language so they wouldn't understand each other. Well, I want to let you know that there is nothing that you cannot do in that oneness, in that covenant that God is giving you. When you begin into prayer, remember to pray, wives, that what you're praying for is beneficial to your marriages and not a hindrance. So remember that your prayers are so much more important, so much more supportive, and more fervent for your husband than anyone else can pray for them. So remember that you have the power to make changes in your relationship, but God is going to make sure the change happens in you first. God bless you. Thank you for joining us. I look forward to seeing you again next week for when we do His wife.